I'll say before you even talk, I know you're a tough girl. That looked painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone ran into my knee and it just snapped, like went.
Do you think the refs called anything? Do you think the refs called any fouls? No, they didn't. These refs are clowns. These referees are clowns.
This was supposed to be a victory worth celebrating, a comeback that proved the Indiana Fever's heart could never be questioned. But instead of joy, the night ended in silence. Fans frozen, teammates in tears, and in the middle of it all, Sophie Cunningham lying on the hardwood, clutching her leg in agony.
Bria Hartley has been doing dirty things for all season. She's been a dirty player. She roughhouse. And Kathy Engelberg, this is why I say you wonder why there's so many goddamn injuries all over the league, because you are allowing people to play rugby and football and do UFC moves in the middle of a basketball game.
And then came the photo, a single image that turned a tragic injury into a firestorm. Because while Sophie was in pain, the camera caught Bria Hartley with something no one expected, a smirk. Was it a cruel accident? Or proof that one of the WNBA's most controversial players had finally crossed the line? Stick around, because this story isn't just about an injury, it's about the future of the league itself. Oh, and if you enjoy videos that dig into the untold stories behind the game, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It helps more fans see the truth, and it keeps you updated every time the drama unfolds. The night had all the makings of a disaster. The Indiana Fever, already battered by injuries and plagued by inconsistency, found themselves buried under a 20-point deficit. The arena buzzed with doubt. Fans were already preparing for another painful loss, another reminder of a season slipping away. But then, something changed. Kelsey Mitchell, usually calm under pressure, suddenly exploded.
Oh my goodness. It took a Hercules-like effort from Kelsey Mitchell in the second half of the game to bail out Stephanie White. My God, it took overtime.
Back out, Mitchell. Got Rivers in the air. Kelsey Mitchell again. You betcha! Wow!
Shot after shot, she clawed the Fever back into the fight. Every basket was a lifeline. Every possession carried the weight of desperation. By the time the fourth quarter arrived, the crowd wasn't sitting anymore. They were roaring, living and dying with each possession. On the sidelines, Coach Stephanie White looked like a woman carrying the world on her shoulders. This wasn't just a game for her. You could see it in her eyes, the way she paced, the way her voice cracked during timeouts. For White, this comeback wasn't about the scoreboard, it was about survival.
And I want to talk about what Coach Stephanie White had to say after the game. During an interview, she said these players have something inside of them that you just can't teach. They bring it out in each other, and it allows us to get through these incredibly tough times. It gives us a chance. I'm so incredibly proud of them for continuing to believe.
And yet, even as the Fever pulled themselves back from the brink, none of them knew the night's greatest test wasn't behind them. It was waiting, just a few plays away. Then it happened.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness.
And all kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right? Winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a...
The Fever's momentum had swung. The crowd was alive, and the game felt winnable. But in one split second, everything changed. Connecticut guard Bria Hartley drove hard into the lane, her body twisting through defenders. As she dished the ball away, her momentum didn't stop. Instead, it carried her straight into Sophie Cunningham, who was firmly planted, bracing for the play. The impact was brutal. Hartley's body crashed into Sophie's right leg, bending it in a way no leg should ever bend. In an instant, the arena's noise turned into a deafening silence. Fans froze. Teammates sprinted over, some covering their mouths in horror. Sophie collapsed to the floor, her face twisted in pain, clutching at her knee as the medical staff rushed in. For long, chilling minutes, basketball didn't matter. The score, the comeback, the stakes, Everything vanished. All that existed was the sight of one of the Fever's toughest players lying helpless on the hardwood, her season hanging in the balance. And yet, what made this moment even darker was what came next, something no one in the arena could have predicted. As Sophie lay on the floor in agony, fans waited for updates, teammates tried to stay composed, and the Fever's comeback suddenly felt meaningless. But then, social media got hold of a single photograph, an image that flipped the entire story upside down. In the background of the chaos, while Cunningham was still writhing in pain, cameras caught Bria Hartley's face, and there it was, a smirk. A faint, almost amused expression that ignited outrage across the internet. Within minutes, the photo went viral. To some, it looked harmless, just a moment frozen mid-expression. But to thousands of fans, it was undeniable proof. Proof that this wasn't just a tragic accident, proof that Hartley wasn't sorry, that she was smiling while another player's season, and possibly her career, was slipping away. The narrative shifted instantly. Instead of sympathy, Hartley was branded as cold, calculated, and reckless. People began digging up her past, resurfacing clips and incidents that painted a darker picture of her style of play. Suddenly, this wasn't just about an injury, it was about intent. And once the internet had labeled Hartley a villain, there was no going back. But the loudest voices weren't just coming from fans. They came from Sophie Cunningham's own family. And they weren't holding back. When the dust settled, the WNBA still hadn't said much. But Sophie Cunningham's family, they didn't stay quiet for a second. Her mother, Paula, took to social media with a fury only a mother could have. She didn't sugarcoat a thing, calling Bria Hartley reckless, plain mean, and a player who has caused trouble everywhere she's gone. It wasn't a polished press release, it was raw anger, typed straight from the heart, and fans ate it up. Then came Sophie's sister, Lindsay, and she didn't just go after Hartley, she went straight at the league itself. In a post that quickly went viral, she blasted the WNBA for protecting referees instead of players, accusing officials of being inconsistent and flat-out dangerous. Her words weren't just frustration, they became a rallying cry for fans who already believed officiating had been a problem for years. Together, the Cunningham family became the loudest prosecutors in a case the league didn't want to acknowledge. Every tweet, every post, every comment piled more pressure on the WNBA. What might have stayed just another injury had now turned into something far bigger, a family versus the league, with Sophie caught in the middle. And while the family fought online, another conversation was taking shape, one that cut straight to the WNBA's credibility. The Cunningham family's anger didn't come out of nowhere. For years, players across the league have complained about officiating that seems to change from night to night. One game, the lightest touch earns a foul. The next, a full-body shove gets ignored. And when players dare to speak up, they're hit with fines. Sophie Cunningham herself knows this better than most. She's been fined multiple times for calling out poor refereeing, openly accusing officials of letting dangerous levels of physicality slide. For her family, this wasn't just about one collision, it was the inevitable result of a league that has failed to protect its athletes. And fans agreed. Social media filled with clips, old fouls, and controversial moments that all pointed to the same conclusion. The WNBA has an officiating crisis on its hands. When refs lose control of a game, players take matters into their own hands, and chaos replaces basketball. That chaos cost Sophie Cunningham more than just a night on the court. It might have cost her season. But this story doesn't stop with Sophie, because at the same time, another star had already been dealing with the exact same problem. And her name was Caitlin Clark. Before Sophie Cunningham went down, the WNBA was already under a microscope. And the reason was simple. Caitlin Clark. Her arrival brought an avalanche of new fans, national TV coverage, and money the league hadn't seen in years. Every game she played was dissected, every foul she took replayed from every angle. And what those new fans saw wasn't just Clark's talent, it was the brutal way she was being defended. Hip checks, elbows, hard fouls that left her on the floor. Plays that would spark outrage in the NBA were suddenly shrugged off as just physical basketball. So when Sophie Cunningham collapsed after Hartley's collision, it wasn't just a WNBA storyline anymore. It became national news. For new fans already questioning how Clark was treated, Sophie's injury was more proof that the league had a serious problem. The debate exploded beyond basketball circles. Was the WNBA becoming too physical, too reckless? Was it protecting its stars or feeding them to the wolves? And that's what made Sophie's injury more than just one unlucky moment. It became part of a bigger narrative. A league already struggling with credibility now had to answer a much scarier question. Was it losing control altogether? For NBA players, an injury, no matter how devastating, comes with guaranteed contracts and the security of millions in the bank. Rehab is brutal, yes, but their future isn't hanging by a thread. In the WNBA, the reality is far harsher. Most players don't have long-term security. Salaries are a fraction of what NBA athletes make, and roster spots are always in danger of being filled by younger, healthier talent. For someone like Sophie Cunningham, this injury isn't just weeks on the sideline. It could mean losing her role, her contract, even her career. That's the cruel truth fans often forget. Every reckless foul, every questionable collision carries consequences far beyond the game. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about livelihoods, mortgages, and futures that can be ripped away in an instant. Sophie has built her reputation on toughness, playing through pain, never making excuses, holding her team together through chaos. But this time, toughness alone won't protect her. Her entire career path now depends on the diagnosis of one knee. And while Sophie faced the fight of her life, the spotlight shifted back to her coach, Stephanie White, who had just reached her breaking point. When Stephanie White stepped into the post-game press conference, she didn't look like a coach celebrating a comeback win. She looked like someone who had reached the edge of exhaustion. Her voice cracked, her eyes glassy, her body language heavy with the weight of an entire season gone wrong. She spoke about resilience, about how her players had something inside them you just couldn't teach. She praised their fight, their unity, their refusal to quit. But behind those words was something unspoken: pain. The pain of watching her team held together with tape and grit. The pain of seeing yet another key player, Sophie Cunningham, go down in a way that might change everything. Her tears weren't just about one game or one injury. They were about the cumulative toll, the endless injuries, the chaos of inconsistent officiating, the feeling of being powerless to protect her players. For White, this wasn't a press conference. It was a breaking point. Fans saw her cry, and for the first time, many realized the truth. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. This was about human beings pushed past their limits. But if White's emotional breakdown symbolized the suffering inside the league, the WNBA's official response would only make the outrage worse. The moment demanded action. Fans expected the league to step in, to show that player safety actually mattered. But when the WNBA finally responded, what they gave instead was a boilerplate statement, cold, generic, and painfully weak. There was no immediate suspension for Bria Hartley, no public acknowledgement of the anger boiling across social media. Eventually, the foul was quietly upgraded after review, but by then the damage was already done. The message was clear. If you're waiting for the league to protect its athletes, don't hold your breath. To the fans, it felt like betrayal. To Sophie's family, it was proof that the league cared more about saving face than saving players. And to players around the WNBA, it was terrifying. Because if Sophie Cunningham could go down like that with no real consequences, then no one was safe. Instead of putting the controversy to rest, the league poured gasoline on the fire. The outrage grew louder, the anger more focused. What was supposed to be leadership turned into a monumental failure. And that left one final question, one that cut deeper than any injury or foul. Sophie Cunningham's fall wasn't just an injury. It was a mirror held up to the WNBA, reflecting every flaw the league has been ignoring for years. Inconsistent officiating, reckless play, weak leadership. And now, the health and futures of its athletes hanging in the balance. For fans, the question is unavoidable. What kind of league does the WNBA want to be? Will it become a place where skill, teamwork, and athleticism define the game? Or will it slide into something uglier, a league where violence overshadows talent and careers can be ended in a single careless moment? Sophie's injury was more than bad luck. It was a warning sign. A reminder that behind every highlight reel is a player whose livelihood depends on the league protecting them. A reminder that change isn't optional. It's necessary. The fall of Sophie Cunningham will be remembered, but how the WNBA responds to moments like this will determine whether it's remembered as a league that grew stronger or one that lost its soul. So now the question is yours. Do you think Bria Hartley's collision was a tragic accident or proof that the WNBA has a serious problem it refuses to fix? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is only just getting started. And if you made it this far, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because trust me, the drama in the WNBA is far from over.